Hi guys, I am alive. I'm alive. I'm alive, number 5. Um, something did happen. Yeah. Nothing serious, nothing to worry about. I'm not gonna have a heart attack. I'm on carnival. Keto, mate. No heart attack for me. And no, I wasn't on the phone to Priscilla. I remember Matthew. Um, Matthew, remember, um, today is video 15. Channel is just over a year old. Whose channel is that? Matthew, whose channel is that? Every time I do a video, I say it's for entertainment purposes only, just opinions. My hair's a mess in it. You can tell my hair's a mess. I always say it's for entertainment purposes only, just opinions. So anything I say, I'm allowed to have opinions. So people do worry about Priscilla. They all think, oh my God, Louis, Louis, how could Louis say that about her? But I just say this, I'm allowed to have opinions. Yeah. We are allowed to have opinions. Yeah. So now if I was on here calling Priscilla disgusting names, yeah, and which some people do, I don't, but some other channels do, yeah, and saying that everything I say is fact, like what I say is true, then I could be in trouble, couldn't I? Yeah. But because it's opinions for entertainment purposes, no law against that. Right, let's read your comments, guys. So something did happen. My wife's car's broken down. The clutch is gone. I don't know if you guys know what a clutch is. Right, let's let the dog in. My wife's car's broken down, so I'm going to buy her a new car. I put the car up for sale, and unexpectedly, I've had about 30 people messaging me who want to buy the car, even though it's got a broken clutch. And I'm getting loads of phone calls. So I had 3 phone calls in a row, and then one said he's coming now. So I quickly had to empty out my wife's stuff from the car, and there was like 4 massive bags of stuff to empty out. So I was completely sidetracked by that for over 45 minutes. So, and I'm expecting more messages, so I'm gonna leave my phone. People asking me about buying the car. I'm gonna sell it cheap because the clutch is gone. So that's it, guys. Right, let's have a look. Let's have a look at your messages, dudes. So, Louis, I have a manual car. Yeah, my car's manual. Good thing, you know what, Carolyn, I'm not going to do the clutch. I don't want to do that job. It's a horrible job. It's 3 days. I'm not doing it. It's £1,000 English money to fix it. So the car isn't worth much. So in the end, what I've decided is I'm going to sell it for £1,000 and give that some money to my son, who's nearly 17, and he's going to use that money to buy a car for himself. But he'll need more because I'll give him a bit more. So do you get what I'm saying, guys? So the car is going. I'm going to buy my wife a new car. Yeah. So this is the plan. So I knew that I've had that car nearly 5 years, so it's okay. I had good use out of it. I don't mind that it's broken down. It's fine. I could fix it, but I ain't gonna. If I fix that car, you won't see me for 3 days. I won't do any lives for 3 days. I don't want to do that. Not interested. Not interested. I don't want to lie on the floor for 3 days. It makes all my fingernails and hands get manky. Nah. How much is she offering? No, 'cause the car is £1,000. That's what I want for it. It's worth £1,000. It's an old car. It's an Audi A3. I'll get my wife a nicer car. I'll get my wife something quite nice. Not super nice, just nice. We always have to be careful. We have to budget, guys. Let's have a look. So I'm just checking your message. So I want to keep this video. I was going to do the topic of Elvis's last day. I wanted to go into it quite deep. I had some Billy Smith videos that we were going to play, but it's a tough one, guys. I think what we'll do now, when I discuss Elvis's last day, I don't want to discuss his medication, what he took. Yeah, I want to keep it to how can I explain it, to what he did on his last day. Yeah, like obviously he played racquetball and went to the dentist, went on the piano, yeah, played those two songs that I think we all know what they are. Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain and Unchained Melodies. But what I'm saying is that I want it to be quite a laid back video, but then I want it to discuss the consequences of what happened when Elvis passed away. So there were certain people that were living with Elvis when Elvis passed away, and what they had to do, they had to pick up the pieces and move on, didn't they? So is Billy Smith and Joe is their kids? Is that what I think? So can I ask you guys, who was living with Elvis when he died, when he passed away? Do any of you know the answer? We'll do one of these. Let's just I'll just type it in, Elvis last day, but I won't click on any of the weird videos. Who was Elvis with the day he passed? We know, obviously there were certain people that came to him. Obviously we know the very obvious ones like Joe Esposito, I think, Charlie Hodge, Ginger Alden. We know Lisa was there. Who else was there? Do any of you know, guys? Let's have it. Let me just see if there's any short videos that just discuss. I don't want to hear anything weird, yeah? So let me just click on this. If anything starts being weird, I'm going to stop it. Yes, I'm not going to do that one. Right, here we go. We'll play this one.
So August 16th was the day he died. This is the month of August. We're approaching that date. Is that a tough day for you?
It is a tough date. And it doesn't seem that long ago, really. He left such vivid memories and wonderful.
37 years ago.
37. It's hard to believe.
He would be 79.
I can't even fathom that number. I can't even fathom that.
Would he be working at 79?
I think he would. I think he would always sing. It was such a part of him.
Okay, so let's see if we can find one that actually shows. Let's just have a look, guys. I'm not going to go too in depth on this. We're just gonna
Nearly 40 years after, myths and legends still surround the death of Elvis Presley. However, what truly happened during the final hours of his life on August 15, 1977, at Graceland in Memphis? Elvis awakens beside his 21-year-old fiancée, Memphis beauty queen Ginger Alder, commencing the last 24 hours of his life. His day starts late in the afternoon, reflecting Elvis's inverted lifestyle. He would spend his day gorging on cheeseburgers.
All right, as soon as it goes weird, I'm not going to play it. Right, let's have a look.
When he would get up to go to the bathroom, I would be at the bathroom door with my ear to the door, you know, and that was part of the deal. You know, sometimes we would try to fill some of the capsules with sugar.
No, right, okay. I'm trying to find ones that just, I don't want to play any of the weird negative ones. Let's see if I want to find ones that were just with him. Yeah? Let's have a look. This could be one there, couldn't it?
Elvis told his dad to give us enough money to live on for 2 or 3 months because he was going to hire us back. The amount mentioned was $5,000. He said, I've just got to show him I'm still the boss. Well, instead of his dad doing that, he called us in on the phone. He gave us 3 days' notice and 1 week's pay and said goodbye.
Okay, well, that's a long story in itself. Right, let's see. Let's have a look. How about we do it a different way? The last time I saw Elvis. Last time I saw Elvis. Let's see if Billy's... Right, let's have a look. Oh, here we
Came
go.
back to Graceland. He went upstairs with Ginger, and I'll probably call it a night. It was unusual, so 4 o'clock in the morning, and got this phone call. And you and Joe come out here and said, me and Ginger want to go down and play some racquetball. Starting to play racquetball. Anyway, instead of him trying to hit the ball back, he was trying to hit me with it. And a couple times succeeded. And boy, that ball would sting the fool out of you. He was going to lay it on me this time, but he swung it, he missed it, and he hit himself on the shin. Oh. Well, he hollered, and here he goes limping out, and he sat down, and he started to raise his pants leg. When he did, I said, is it bleeding? He said, I don't think so. And I reached and got it, pulled it back down. I said, hell, if it ain't bleeding, it ain't hurting. And he, of course, he threw the racket at me at that time. Then he got on the piano, sang some gospel song, just briefly, you know, just part of it. And then he got on Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, and he played that, and he pretty much went all the way through that.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Why have we got 2 of the same? Let's have a look. Let's see.
Vernon and Gladys Presley, Dirt Poor.
Hang on, right, let's listen to this, guys.
When they brought him, you know, to the house and all the next day, I had some relief, you might say, when I saw him, because I realized it's true, you know. You've got to accept it, it's true. Whereas before I could believe, you know, that he was just sick, you know, in the hospital. I was just hearing what they wanted to tell me. But when you see the real thing, then you know it's there. And you got to deal with it.
That's horrible. I mean, that's sad, isn't it, guys? That's like gut-wrenching. Right. So obviously, when Elvis passed, there were consequences, weren't there? It wasn't like So I think, did Billy go on to do Graceland tours after Elvis passed? Let's just have a look. So let's just click on this, the day Elvis was born.
Vernon and Gladys Presley, dirt poor, barely educated, and without much hope, were about to have twins. Then at 4:35 a.m., the legend began.
As Elvis told it, it was a very unusual morning. It was this purple haze and this nice blue ring around the moon and all this kind of stuff. And yeah, so it couldn't have been a normal birth, you know.
Oh, Vernon told him too that he was special because Elvis said that Vernon told him that when Elvis was conceived, Vernon blacked out.
Jesse was the first one born, and of course he was born still dead, you know, and they brought him on out from behind. They had the sheet hung up because it lived in just a one huge room house is all it was, and they had him laid out on the table and all. And of course Elvis was born, you know, just a few minutes later.
I remember making that video. It took me bloody ages to like piece all the pictures together. That was a while ago. It's well over a year ago. Could be 2 years ago I made that. Let's have a look so we can go across. Remember, let's see what this is. Billy doing tours, yeah?
Here is another of David's photos from 1982 of tour guide and Elvis's first cousin, Billy Smith, standing in the dining room. Here is...
That's interesting, guys.
What about things that have happened since he died? People with their devotion to the legend.
Hang on. Hang on a minute, guys. Just click along. What's this? Elvis' cousin Billy Smith. That's interesting.
Jamie also snapped this cute photo of a young Billy Smith in front of Graceland representing his older cousin. Jimmy also snapped this cute photo of a young Billy Smith in front of Graceland, representing his older cousin. Jimmy.
Let's just read a couple of your messages. So I think Matt said that. Let's have a look. Matt said Al Strada and Dean N got his wardrobe together and shipped it. Delta May and Lisa Marie obviously were there. Minnie May. Let's have a look. There was a Memphis Sheriff Deputy, Thomas Morgan, says he met Elvis at Graceland on the 15th. Billy Smith and Marty Lacker are the only ones I like from the Memphis Mafia. Hi, Mystic. So let's just click through a few of these. I find it quite fascinating, to be honest, you guys. Billy Joe original video. Let's have a look.
Billy Smith and Joe Norris were high school sweethearts that married in 1962. Billy initially lived on the Graceland property with his parents, then later moved back and shared a home with his wife and kids there. Billy and Joe are still married today and of course create videos with their sons on their YouTube channel, Memphis Mafia Kid.
So I've got, let me just have a look. What's that? Let's have a look at this.
Lastly, here is Travis's wife and Billy Smith's mother, Lorraine, posing by the front door with a cute little dog in front. Lastly, here is Travis's wife and Billy Smith's mother, Lorraine, posing by the front door with a cute little dog in front.
That's interesting, isn't it, guys? All right, let's see if we can find some more. I like that. I'm actually quite enjoying these little clips. Quite a lot of them I haven't seen before. Right, let's see what else we can find. Elvis Presley. Right, let's keep going on these. See if we can find some more little tidbits.
When I thought he was down, I was going to try to be up. And when he was up, I was automatically up. I mean, I was in tune to him. But it was difficult. It was hard, you know. And you want to just say, God, man, you know, come on. It's not too late, you know. Get a grip in your life, you know, and get away from the drugs, you know. Don't use them. You don't have to. And take a little time off. Nothing's that impressive. You don't owe anybody anything. If you get rid of me tomorrow, and I told him that, and I meant it from the bottom of my heart, if you get rid of all these guys, they will understand. And if they don't, they were not your friends to start with. But take some time off. And he'd just look at me and say, I can't. I owe too much to too many people.
Now that's tough, guys. That is, that's as emotional as it gets. Do we agree, guys? Ugh. That was hard to watch, actually. All right, here we go. It's an interesting one. So I think a few of you have been asking about this, about Elvis not leaving the Smiths anything or in the will or whatever the story is. I actually don't know the story. So I think this is Debbie's YouTube channel.
Billy Smith was Elvis Presley's first cousin, and he was a part of the Memphis Mafia. Billy Smith was the only member.
Right, I'm not sure if she's going to talk. She usually does say something. Let's see what she says.
To stay with Elvis from the beginning to the end. The original members of the Memphis Mafia close to Elvis Presley were Lamar Fife, Marty Lacker, Billy.
I mean, some of them she does where you just read them out, doesn't she?
Smith, Joe Esposito, Jerry Shillings, Sonny and Red West. They all have passed away, all but two. That's Billy Smith and Jerry Shillings. Jerry Shillings was born in 1942, and he is 82 years old today.
Is that? No.
But Billy said,
not really
if that's
sure what that's all about. Still great pictures though. Let's have a look. Okay. I just remembered actually. Elizabeth sent me something. Let me have a look. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just say, please, I got an idea, Stanley. No particular topic, really. We're not really overly going into it. Let's have a look. Let's have a look.
Got up, we went back to the house, and we go upstairs, and Joe waited downstairs. My wife waited downstairs for me. We go in the bathroom, and he's wanting me to wash and dry his
I think we've already seen this, but I'll play it anyway.
hair. That's as close to a bath at that time as he got. Then we're talking about the tour, and I said, well, are you up for the tour? And he said, yeah. He said, I'm pretty well up for it. He said, it's probably going to be one of the best tours I'll ever do. Really, what he's doing is psyching himself up. You know, I was glad to hear it, you know, so talk a while, and then after that, I leave. I go in the house, I ain't thinking nothing about it. I mean, we just had a fairly good time, you know, and he was kind of up. So, you know, I had no earthly idea, you know, what was going to take place in a few hours later. Somewhere around 1:30, if I'm not mistaken, the phone rang.
The last performance. What's this?
And would last within the time and would last within the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ah, I love it. That was cute. I wonder if YouTube will let me play that. Let's have a look. Okay, let's see what else we can find, guys. We're just messing about. It's interesting. It asked about Billy Stanley's view of the Elvis film. Should we listen to it?
So it all started back when he was just maybe 5, 6 years old.
Did you like the movie?
It really doesn't matter what I think. I grew up with the man, so I'll just say this. It was entertaining, and I'll just leave it at that.
Was there anything that was absolutely false that I should take out of my mind?
Yes.
Which one?
He would never talk to his mother like that first when they had that little argument.
Right.
And his daddy was a lot stronger than that. He wasn't the little weak guy that they made him out to be. He was a very strong individual.
Good to know, Billy Stanley.
That's interesting. I agree with that. I think that's a very good comment from Billy. Hi, beautiful girl. Let's have a look. What is this? Billy Stanley on how Elvis Presley spent his downtime. Oh, that's interesting.
Ride motorcycles, one thing. He gave me my first Harley. Hang around by the pool. One thing he always did every day was get out and ride around Memphis because he loved Memphis. He was very proud of his hometown, and he wanted to see what was going on in town. So he's either riding a motorcycle or he would be out in a car just riding around Memphis.
I think that's good. I like that. Come on, if Billy says it, we know it's good because he grew up with him. He was his stepbrother. What else can we have on there? Pull-in pranks. Here we go.
Okay. One of the practical jokes, during Christmas, Elvis always handed out bonus checks for all the employees. Well, this was the first year I think McDonald's had their first little gift card things. So he took it upon himself to get everybody's envelope, had your name on it, but he just put the McDonald's coupon in there and gave it to you. So the look on everybody's faces when they was at Christmas and he handed out the bonus check, everybody opened it at the same time and we see McDonald's gift coupons. I mean, it was priceless, the look on everybody's faces. And I mean, he was laughing and he said, okay guys, here's your real check. So, but I mean, that's the way Elvis was, and that's the Elvis I remember.
I think I'm pretty sure that's in the book as well. You know, we've read a lot of Billy's book. We love it. It's, let me just get it out for you. The Faith of Elvis. Great book, guys. Great book. Let's see if we can find something else a bit unusual. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. What's it? Talks about Elvis. Let's listen to this, shall we?
And he was all keyed up, as he always was, about the tours and all, you know. And he couldn't sleep, so, you know, naturally we played racquetball, and that way he could get his mind off of what he was getting ready to do come the following day. We were supposed to leave and do the tour.
So I think this is going to be quite touching, guys. Very young-looking Billy.
And he was real excited about it. We had talked about it for, you know, well, gosh, an hour or so. About how good the tour was going to be, what changes were going to be made, and things like that. So he was really keyed up and looking forward to it.
He really had great expectations about that. I think, though he did on every tour, he loved it more than anything, I think, in the world. He loved his music.
Well,
Joe was beautiful, wasn't she? She looks completely different there. It's like, just, yeah, the both of them look so young, don't they?
After we had played racquetball for about 2.5 hours, me and Elvis went upstairs, and he had washed his hair, and I was drying it for him. And again, that's what we were talking about, the tours and all. And he said, you know, this will certainly be my best tour ever. And he was really looking forward to it. And I guess I stayed out there probably till about 7:15 or 7:30, and then I went home to get some sleep because we had to get up early that afternoon. And I had to wake him up that afternoon, which would have probably been around 5 or 5:30.
So I wonder when this was filmed. Was it quite soon after Elvis passed?
I had gone out to get a few last-minute things that I needed to take on tour because we were leaving with him. And I had already packed and everything. And I was right in front of the gate, and I saw an ambulance come down the drive, and I saw a few of the guys that were running behind the ambulance. And the first thing I thought of was his grandmother. And so I went on up into my house, and the phone rang, and I can't remember, I think Patsy told me that Elvis had been taken to the hospital.
My cousin called me on the...
Yeah, I mean, I love this. I don't think I've watched all of this. I've watched some of this, but not all of this.
Who works in the office, Patsy Gamble, is Elvis's first cousin too, double first cousin in fact. She called me about somewhere around 1:45, and said they had taken him to the hospital. And of course, he had been in and out of the hospital several times, so it really didn't shock me at first until she started crying. And she said, it kind of looks bad. And when she said that, then I just kind of dropped the phone and headed for the first thing I could find, which was my motorcycle at that time. It was the only thing parked there, and Joe had gone out. in the car, so I was going to get on it, and about that time David Stanley came up in his car, and we immediately got in and went to the hospital. And not until Dr. Nick came out of the other room where they were working on Elvis did I realize.
So this bit's difficult, yeah, guys. When they say that they're working on Elvis, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I want to play it, but let's just keep going.
You know, he was dead.
And so I talked to somebody, and I said, well, how is he? What happened? And they said, Joe, he's gone. And it was just total disbelief. I froze, and then I remembered talking to Lisa on the phone, and she said, Joe, my daddy is dead. And I said, no, Lisa, no. I said, he's just sick. He's not, he'll be okay. And she said, do you promise? And I said, yes. And everybody, it was just total confusion. It was like a nightmare. Everybody was running. Within just an hour, people had swarmed in. We couldn't even go out of Graceland. It was, the crowds were so heavy outside the gates. Still, it was like it was happening to somebody else. It was like Elvis couldn't die.
She's lovely, isn't she, Joe? She's beautiful. Even her voice sounds useful. Beautiful eyes, lovely hair, just lovely. Right, there's a little bit more, guys.
I couldn't accept it for a long time. Sometimes it bothers me, because being close to somebody like Elvis, and as far as I'm concerned, there'll never be anybody else like him. And I grew up around him. He was the way of life for us.
We were good friends.
Tough guys.
I say Elvis was love, and I know that all the people he touched know that too.
Can't put it better than that. Elvis was love. And anyone that knew him felt that way. So obviously there was consequences. When Elvis passed, it affected a lot of people. Affected people, especially people that lived around him or worked for him, so let's just see something a minute. I'm just trying to find some videos. So obviously when Billy, what was the story with when Billy and Joe, when Elvis passed, was Billy and Joe, who else was living with Elvis? Was Billy Stanley living with Elvis? I think Matt has answered a bit of it, because obviously when Elvis passed, because he people made their living from, he was their job, wasn't it? He was, let me just check this a minute. Right. I'm just trying to get a feel for who. Oh, I can hear the kids, sorry. So obviously people were affected. I'm going to shut the door a minute. Hang on a minute. I'm finishing in a couple of minutes, just sort of saying goodbye now. But yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to play a couple more little 30-second things, then I'm going to have to go. But, how did it affect Billy and Joe when Elvis passed? Shh. Shut the door, please. No.
Drank more. That family has a history of it. I mean, my father's in that family, and he did, and his brothers and all that, And it brought that on, and by that...
No, that's not the one. Hang on a minute, guys. I'm just trying to find... I store all my videos somewhere. 1 second, guys. What is this? Sorry, some of them I don't know what they are.
Okay, Danny, did you and your brother Joey ever receive TCBs?
No, we did not.
No, but
Hell no. If
Only
Elvis,
the adult.
yeah, I give it to a
personal
bunch of darn
friends and-
kids that didn't respect nothing. You know.
Well,
We
let me
gave
get-
Lisa a ring one time. She threw it away.
Yeah,
It was expensive.
threw it in the swimming
No,
pool
it wasn't
without
like it. Well,
drying.
look, but they're telling the truth. Yeah, that was for the adults, but that's
No, that's not the one. Let's have a look. Trying to find someone's. So was Jerry? Let's have a look at this one. Was Jerry there? Sorry, I'm just sort of scouting around, seeing what
I
comes up.
walked out in the balcony and it started raining. And I don't know how long I stayed out there until I heard the phone ringing, and it was Priscilla. And she said Vernon was sending the plane back. And she gave me all the details. And a friend of mine who was a friend of Elvis's, who I'd introduced to, and they kind of had a friendship. The guy who wrote the dramatic karate script, Rick Husky, picked me up to take me to the airport. And guy, we're driving down, and radio's on, and they play an Elvis record, and the disc jockey says, by the late Elvis Presley. I walked out in the balcony and it started raining. And I don't know how long I stayed out there until I heard the phone ringing, and it was Priscilla. And she said Vernon was sending the plane back. She gave me all the details. And a friend of mine
On the last
who
minute now.
was a friend of Elvis's, who I'd introduced to, and they kind of had a friendship. The guy who wrote the dramatic karate script, Rick Husky, picked me up to take me to the airport. And
Come in there, sit with you.
guy, we're driving down, and radio's on, and they play an Elvis record, and the disc jockey says, by the late Elvis Presley. I walked out in the balcony and it started raining. And I don't know how long I stayed out there until I heard the phone ringing, and it was Priscilla. And she said Vernon was sending the plane back. She gave me all the details. And
It's quite heartbreaking, isn't it, guys?
a friend of mine who was a friend of Elvis's, who I'd introduced to, and they kind of had a friendship. The guy who wrote the dramatic karate script, Rick Husky.
Come on, whatever we think of Jerry, he did love Elvis, and he was completely heartbroken when Elvis went, wasn't he, guys? So it's tough to listen to, isn't it, guys? Right, so I'm going to just do two last little clips. So obviously there were people affected when Elvis passed. Yeah. Let's have a listen.
So, he gave us enough things and material things that we were able to take care of our kids, buy a house, provide for our family until you got a job. Yeah. And that's what we had to do. We had no choice, because Elvis.
Yeah. Well, that's good, isn't it, guys? Because obviously there was a knock-on effect, wasn't there? Once Elvis passed, there was a ripple effect. It just affected so many people's livelihoods, their day-to-day existence.
Support. When Elvis passed away, and we had to move and support one teenager and one preteen, and we had no jobs and no money and no anything, because when you lived with Elvis, you didn't save. You didn't do that. It was all. So we had to sell a lot of our possessions in order to take care of our family, because we didn't ask anybody for help, and we felt it was our responsibility, and we had to sell a lot. When Elvis passed away.
Yes, it's sad, isn't it, guys? This is the sad bit that let me just get rid of that. Right, so I'm just gonna read a few of your comments, then go, guys. But it's all very sad, isn't it, guys? That obviously Elvis passing affected so many people. Of course, it affected Billy and Joe and their kids and their family. Of course, it would have affected the Stanleys and Jerry Schilling, everyone that was there. I've seen some pretty. I wonder if I've got it on here. Let's see if I can find it. There was a very sad bit that shows Charlie Hodge. Actually, I do have it. Let me see if I can play it. Just show, this is, I think this is like hours after Elvis passed. Let's see if we can find it, guys. And this is quite hard to watch. Let's have a look. Where is it? Here it is, guys. Right, let's listen to this a minute before I go. Gonna work. We need to get the volume on it. Right.
Tomorrow, and so he was in a very good mood, very fantastic mood last night. I talked to him last night when we discussed some songs we were going to do on the tour and everything. He was in a great mood. Not whatsoever. How do you feel about that? I can't believe it. I just... it's not real. No, it's not. It's our friend. We're getting ready to do a tour starting tomorrow, and so he was in a very good mood, very fantastic mood last night. I talked to him last night when we discussed some songs we were going to do on the tour and everything. He was in a great mood. Not whatsoever. How do you feel about that? I can't believe it. I just... it's not real. No, it's not. It's our friend.
Now that is one of the toughest things to watch, isn't it, guys? You can completely see how they feel. I like the fact he says that Elvis was in a fantastic mood last night. See? So to the doubters that say Elvis was like had given up, suicidal, all that stupid rubbish that people say, he was there. This is hours after he passed. Charlie Hodge, Elvis was in a fantastic mood last night. This is recorded hours after. That shuts a lot of people up, doesn't it? You can completely see how devastated Joe Esposito is. Come on, Joe loved Elvis. I think Joe gets given a hard time. I think Joe gets a bad rap. He's not the I just don't think he's portrayed fairly, Joe. I'm a big fan of Joe Esposito and his daughter, Cindy, who obviously I've spoke to her. But so, you know, with Billy and Joel, it's like, God, it's tough, innit, guys? They have to pick up the pieces. Billy and Joe clearly love Elvis, you know, and the ripple effect of losing Elvis we're still feeling it now, 2025. Over 90 years since he was born. Just crazy. So I agree with what Emily just said, how the Smiths seem to have been estranged from everything. It's not fair, is it, guys? It's not fair. They didn't deserve it, you know? Mystic, Billy Smith, Marty Lacker were the true ones, and Margaret was a true love. Hi, Helen. Yeah, I never saw it that way. Let's have a look. Billy Stanley was estranged from Elvis when he passed. See, there's a few, obviously Lisa had views, didn't she? Lisa was upset with people. I get the feeling, was it because of this book that upset Lisa? I get the feeling this book upset Lisa. Yeah, there's something that made Lisa not happy about certain things. I haven't read the whole book. I've read quite a few bits of it. There's definitely things in that book that Lisa wouldn't be happy with, 100%. This is what really matters. People who knew Elvis loved him and say the most beautiful things. I agree with that. So Matthew says, I feel Elvis chose to bring Priscilla to Graceland in a way because of Joe. Oh, Matthew, why is that? Why is that? I never thought of that. None of the guys could believe that Billy could find the love that they kept throwing away by cheating on their wives. Yeah, I understand that, because the Memphis Mafia, they were all cheating on their wives, and Billy found true love. Yeah, and he picked. You won't get better than Joe, will you? A very beautiful, loyal woman as well. Obviously, all these decades later. So, well said. I think they're a lovely couple, Billy and Joe. Right. So Elvis would have continued to provide for Billy. Yes, I think he would have. They did have to sell their TCBs after Billy voluntarily left employment at Graceland. Yeah, didn't he go to work on the trains? But didn't the fans club together and get them a TCB ring each? Is that correct? I'm pretty sure that happened, which is amazing from the fans. Beautiful. I think they still wear those TCB necklaces now, don't they? I'm not sure. You tell me, guys. Karen says Billy and Joe said they had to sell gifts for Elvis to get. Yeah, didn't they even buy a house with these gifts from Elvis? I don't know. Tell me, guys. I'm learning just like you are. We're all learning together. Shame Billy and Joe were estranged from Lisa Marie. They would have been so good for her. Yeah. I mean, that's a question in itself, isn't it? Like, as I said, it might be because of that book. I don't know. Are you talking about this book, Mystic? How are you? I just think there's a lot of things in this book that shouldn't have been said. I honestly do. I read some parts of it. A few of you reference it to me, like Karen and Linda, people like that. Lisa was upset with the documentary. Yes, is that the one that was called? I remember seeing her being interviewed about it. Oh, I'm trying to remember what it was called. I know the one you mean, though. Yeah, that's it. Some of the Memphis Mafia talking in the book. Yeah, to Karen, I thought so. The fans replaced the chains. Yes. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna go. I hope you enjoyed that. It was bittersweet because it's quite heart-wrenching, some parts of it, isn't it? But also very interesting. So I wanted to just do something about the last day of Elvis. I think there's a lot more to learn. I need to do some more research to exactly what happened, sort of minute by minute, hour by hour, leading up to Elvis passing and the day after, and how it affected all of the family members that were around, the staff, the friends, even the animals, that were around when Elvis passed. Obviously, how it affects Vernon and how he has to pick up the pieces and run everything. So how it affects Colonel Tom Parker, even Dr. Nick, people like that. Massive knock-on effect, just the amount of things that changed overnight because Elvis passed is unbelievable, like unimaginable. I think so much had to change. Obviously, the building itself, Graceland, the building itself, the land around it, everything. So, anyway, guys, have a good time. I really enjoyed it. Thanks a lot. I'll probably see you tomorrow morning. I may do a dog walk. If I do, I'll give you a shout.